Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. I was going to say to those who celebrate Friday. Hi. Yes. So fitting to get introduced to the dark side, not by money or power, but by food. It's true. So, in the last stream, the sexy vampire lawyer named Lydia invited me to a really nice restaurant that was a massive buffet, and I filled my plate. I took all the options to overfill my plate and ate every single morsel. And basically, she offered me her blood, which I did agree to drink, but I successfully, supposedly, pretended to drink it. Only because normally I would make the character just drink it, just because, you know, I like to play characters who make really bad decisions. But the fact, I couldn't help it. Me, Honey, knows all the lore, right? And even if you don't know all the lore, it's a pretty basic fact that you drink a vampire's blood, you get ghoul to them, or you become loyal to them. And she outright lied to your face, where she's like, vampires don't usually give people their blood because when they do that, then the person giving the blood becomes vulnerable. And I was like, you know, it was such a bold-faced lie, and there was no way for me to, like, insight check her on that particular information. So I pretended to drink the blood. I didn't actually drink it. I spit it out into my napkin, essentially, and that worked. And that was really fun. I abandoned my friends for the second time. Well, I guess maybe third time. First time is when they invited me to join their group and I said no. And then the second time is when the old man died to save my life and I didn't go to his funeral. And then the third time they invited me to like a little like get together for us to just sort of get to know each other better. And I still said no. I went to the buffet instead. But I'm supposed to meet with them anyway. And I guess I'll tell them that I went to the buffet. Or maybe I won't actually. I have no idea if I'll tell them or not. Jeez Louise, yeah. Yeah, poor old man, I still feel like he's with us in spirit. Yeah, there was a flagging error in one of them where, in some part where I was in, I don't know, I think it was like, some part of Vancouver that I think was supposed to be like a Chinatown, but I'm not sure, don't remember if they called it that. But he was like right next to me, where they're like Hannah and the old man look at each other, and I'm like, no, he's dead. But obviously I have a wraith following me, a guardian angel, if you will. But yeah, we also, my most favorite thing is that I admitted that I was in love with the alcoholic older man. And I think Hannah's canonically supposed to be between the ages of 18 and 21, which I found hilarious, but he hasn't reciprocated anything. And sometimes he still calls me kid, and it makes me irrationally angry. So we're gonna keep going with that, and hopefully there will be a romance scene between us. I feel like if I went, that was my huge struggle. I feel like if I went to the little party that they had, I would have gotten the chance to kiss him. But I could not pass up the buffet, because as we have established, Hannah cares about nothing more than her next meal. So I guess we'll see. So, Act 4, Hounds on the Leash. You climb up onto the stage to find Fleur-de-Lis, who I've never spoken to. Will and Mandy huddled around the former's laptop, their faces lit by the wan glow of the screen. No, I still don't get it, Will replies irritably as Fleur-de-Lis shows him the image on her netbook screen, which in this case appears to be an anthropomorphic loaf of sourdough in fishnet stockings, posing suggestively with a caption in big impact font letters underneath. He's not gonna get it, Fleur-de-Lis, Mandy croaks, her tone of voice strongly implying that she'd rather be anywhere but here. That reminds me, speaking of a meme about bread, one of the most popular characters in German media, especially German children's media, is Bernd das Brot, which means Bernd the bread. And he is a massively, like, chronically depressed and mentally ill piece of bread that always that hates everyone and wishes he was dead. And he's beloved here in Germany. Google it. I don't know what to tell you. No, but it's obvious, the youngest hunter insists as she points at the caption and turns back to Will. Let's get this bread, she reads off, apparently not for the first time. How could you not get it? Because I don't. That's how, he growls. I still don't know why this is funny to you. Mandy sighs. Because bread, the food sounds the same as bread, the verb, which makes it sound like you're talking about fucking the loaf of sourdough, she finally explains, burying her head in her hands. Will makes a face like someone who's just had a laser pointer shine directly into their eyes. I don't fucking get you kids. Me. He looks away just in time to see you. Oh, get off my lawn. Oh, good, you're up. Just in time to save me from memes about fucking bread, I guess. Is there there any coffee? Coffee is really close to food, so that's what I'll ask. No, you did not miss much. Last week tonight did an episode on Band Das Brot. What? Why? Why would they do that? Was something going... Well, I mean, something's always going on in Germany because, you know. But what? Probably, Mandy replies with a frown. Sheng used to make it for meetings like this. I'm not sure if anyone knows where his stuff is. I can go without. No, I can't. You reply as you slide into an empty chair. We've got work to do. Yeah, we do, Mandy nods. Let's get started. So let's sum up, Mandy says a few minutes later, after you make sure you're on the same page. A bunch of bloodsuckers, each one of them enough to fight us all to a standstill on their own, are coming after us as a group. Not only that, but there's another bloodsucker who's not only coming after them, but also after us, and she's got a private army. And half the VPD paid off too. She likes me, though. You really know how to look on the bright side, Torrington, Bull replies. Listen, I'd be more optimistic if I could see any reason to be, the young hunter answers, because right now, the way I'm seeing it, we are cooked. I think you're underestimating us. We can take them, both of them. Yeah, sure we can. Oh, God. I'm going to be extremely, extremely optimistic. Delusional, one might say. Oh. Will looks at you as if you just told him you challenged the sun to a duel. The fuck are you on, kid? I just got the best buffet of my life. I could fight God right now. We could barely take on one blank by themselves. Taking on a whole group of them, let alone a whole group... Taking on a whole group of them, let alone a whole group of them. You want to take that again? You want to take that again, Will? Want to do one more take of that? And another one with her own private army backing her up, all at the same time? Those are odds I wouldn't take on with body armor and flamethrowers. We're sure as fuck not doing it with the shit we're armed with now. So we find better weapons, you reply, digging in your heels. We find allies, backup, ways to even the playing field. We've got those, don't we? Fleur-de-Lis bites her lip, almost as if not sure she should be speaking up at all. Don't, I've never talked to you. Until finally she opens up. We do know one thing. We live here, which means we have the home field advantage. If we find a way to figure out when those bloodsuckers are going to come after us, then we'll know how much time we'll have to prepare for them. If we know how much time we've got left, then maybe... She takes a shaky breath. Maybe we'll find a way to stop them. Hey, you know that kingpin crime lord who I stole food from once? Let's ask him for help. That would be funny. Let's do that. We're going to lead a lot more old men at this rate. Right, we have a wraith at our back. What do we possibly have to worry about? Will scowls. What, the locals? He shakes his head. Maybe you should. I sure as fuck can't. Any of the people here see me coming along, they think I'm here to break their legs. He turns to Mandy. They see Torrington, though. They think free food. Maybe she should do it? Probably. The young hunter frowns. It won't be easy, she admits. Sure, they like me, but they probably still see me as one of Jangles's people. If they see me coming to ask a favor, they'll probably think I'm about to drag them into something they don't want to touch. Especially now, given the rumors. She turns to you. You might actually have a better shot here. I don't think so. Me? You shake your head. I've only been here a few weeks. You've been here long enough for people to know who you are, Mandy replies, and more importantly, they know that you don't take orders from any gang boss. They know you're not about to pull them into a gang war. Though, speaking of which... Okay, what about Jangles, you ask? He's got guns, he's got people, he's got to be able to help us out, right? Maybe, Will replies, if he's even still in charge of this whole clusterfuck. If the rumors are true anyway, Fleur-de-Lis nods, if they are, then all his underlings are going to be gearing up for some kind of Game of Thrones succession crisis bullshit, and we're not going to convince them to divert resources to help us, not unless we offer them something in return. Not much chance of that happening, at least not if you have to take point on it. What could you even offer? You barely even know these people. They certainly don't owe you anything, and the last time they offered to make you one of them, you walked away. I sure did. And I'd do it again. Maybe you could find a way to cut a deal, maybe call in some favors, but it sure as hell won't be easy. That's okay. We'll need some advance warning, that's for sure. For sure. We got this with our 1 dot in charisma. Do we only have 1 dot in charisma? Damn. How do I have 3 in intelligence, in mental skills? How is that even possible? An awkward silence falls over the table again, but then, I might actually have something, Fleur-de-Lis says as she tentatively raises her hand. I've been doing some more research this past week based on what we found back there, she explains. I followed up on those armed guards that the other vampires had with her, the Cavalier security badges. Well, I got myself into this group chat made of their security guards. Oh, great. The normal ones, and it turns out they've heard about Red Cavalier guys. Are you sure? You ask. The other hunter shrugs. Unless Cavalier Security is fielding more than one secret unit of special operators with military-grade equipment, yes. She leans in. The more important thing is that some of the people in the group chat have been keeping tabs on these guys. They don't know who they are or where they're going, but they do know where they're based and when they go on deployment. Okay. Great. I hope it's enough. Fleur-de-Lis nods, the uncertainty written all over her face. It's pretty obvious that although she'd like this setup to work, she has no idea if it will, and given how improvised it is, you're not sure you should be either. I wish I could give you something more, yeah, me too, she finally says, but I don't think we've got any better options. Wait! Mandy almost jumps up from her seat. What about our neighbors? Okay, so maybe nobody knows everyone in this neighborhood, but they know us, and news— isn't that what I suggested? What the hell did I suggest before? And news travels fast. If you put the word out, let people know to come to us if they see anyone weird and out of place moving around at night, we could get some warning from that too. What did I suggest? Yeah, obviously. It's worth a shot. That is what I suggested. Just avoid all social roles that are higher than difficulty of 1. No, I will not be doing that. I'm going to talk my way out of this. You wait. I'm going to offer them food and a little sit down and open a dialogue with the vampires. Mandy nods. It's not exactly going to be foolproof, but if those bloodsuckers manage to get past our first line, it'll give us one more shot to pick up on them before they're at our throats. The others nod. Neither method you have is going to be particularly reliable, but between the two of them, you'll have at least a decent shot of getting some kind of heads up before things go sideways. Hopefully that will be enough. Do we have allies elsewhere? Yeah, we have the wait, they're in my thingamado. The Taishan Huai. We have them. Right? What about the— here we go. What about the Taishan Huai in Chinatown? Fleur-de-Lis asks. They have the training and the experience, and they're basically next door, so they could respond quickly too. Yeah, but they don't like us. You nod. After your last encounter with them, the monster hunters of Chinatown definitely owe you one. The question is whether you'll be able to convince them of that. The only reason they gave you the time of night at all the last time was because you brought Sheng's death into it. That's probably not going to work a second time, but you need all the help you can get right now. I think I can get in touch with them, you reply. Hopefully they'll be in a mood to listen. So far so good, but you know that even the Taishan Huai's help might not be enough against the odds you're facing. If you want to survive this, you need to call in every favor you have. I don't have many because I don't like anyone and no one likes me. Does anyone else have any other suggestions, you ask? You listen for an answer, even the slightest, quietest implication that there might be someone else out there you could call on for help. You don't get one. Which means if you still need more help, it's not going to come from the Downtown Eastside. Well, is this all we got? You got this, Queen. Thank you. The others around the table look at each other, then at you, and none of them give you an answer. As far as you can tell, they've all put their options on the table, and after a moment you realize that so have you. Well, what are you gonna do? There's little point in continuing the meeting after that. You all know what's at stake, and you all know what your options are. The only question is what to do first. I wonder what this game is like if you play it, like, actually trying to do well. Oh my god. I'll see if the Taishan Huai are willing to help us. Chinatown is different in the daytime. Even the back alleys are filled with people, prep cooks, and stockroom workers shuffling produce to and from the darkened back entrances of farmers markets and restaurants, locals out and about their daily business, the occasional lost tourist who somehow took a wrong turn looking for one of the many hole-in-the-wall restaurants that some food blogger or other posted about. Instead of the quiet, darkened passages you remember from the last time you were here. Everything is loud, everything is bright, and everything is moving in a way that can't help but disorient you as you try to retrace the steps you took the last time you met with the Taishan Huai. You wish Zeng were here. Well, last time he was. In spirit. He should have known where to go. He would have known where to go. He'd grown up in this place. He'd know what to do to get the Taishan Huai's attention. He'd been a member of their brotherhood when he How do I know all this? When he did, he would have known what to say, what to do, what gestures to make, what pitfalls to avoid. We met him twice. How would I know all of this? If he'd been here, then getting the Taishanhuai's help would have been a foregone conclusion. Instead, the old man is dead. Yes. And all you have is what little you remember from one late night meeting the night he died. Exactly. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass, literally. Fuck, if you only knew how. You don't exactly feel it, but somehow you know someone. You know it's there. A presence behind you, solid and menacing, like a knife pointed at the small of your back. Get lost, whispers a half-familiar voice in your ear with an intonation which makes you wonder if the words are a question or a command. I have to speak to your elders. And why should I let you? Elder Brother Liu asks, his voice resting at a deadly calm. Your previous intrusion was tolerated as an exceptional courtesy because it touched upon the murder of an elder of the Brotherhood. What possible reason could you have to come to us again, when it was made abundantly clear that your further interference was not welcome? We've learned something about Sheng's killer, something important, you answer. Your elders need to know. For a second, Elder Brother Liu says nothing. You don't need to turn around to know that he's frowning, possibly even scowling. Very well, he replies begrudgingly. We will see what the elders make of your information, assuming you promise to actually abide by their judgment this time. He steps forward past you before waiting for a reply. Follow me. They love me. If only there was footprints for us to study. Twice we were able to follow footprints to the end of our scavenger hunt, I guess you call it. It takes everything you've got just to follow Elder Brother Liu through the crowded alleyway to keep track of him as he forges on through the throng as if it weren't even there. It's obvious that he doesn't really care if you're keeping up or not. He doesn't even look over his shoulder to check. You suspect that if you fell behind far enough to lose sight of him and got lost again, he wouldn't exactly be all too cut up about it. But you know what's at stake, even if he doesn't. You keep up, slipping in between knots of people when you can, pushing past them when you can't. Every step forward an intricate dance with 1,000 moving partners through a passage about as wide as a parking spot. By the time you finally get to the almost familiar staircase you went up last time, you're almost out of breath, your head dizzy and your feet not quite sure where they're supposed to go. Elder Brother Liu takes a moment out of his busy day to scowl at your disorientation as he opens the door for you. Shoes off, he commands, barely giving you the time to get your bearings again. The elders are inside, waiting to see if the information you intend to bring them is really worth the time and effort they have already expended to assemble. I trust they will be disappointed. Jeez. My God, he's being so mean to me. They are. We appreciate you. Why don't? Oh God. I wish no one reminded me I only have one dot in socials. We appreciate you bringing us this information, Elder Liu says after you tell him what you and the other hunters have found out. However, we fail to see how this applies to us. From what you have said, this threat affects the Downtown Eastside, does not affect Chinatown. It's not like we're in two different countries, dude. It's not like we're on separate continents. Does that mean you won't help us? You ask, your heart sinking even as your frustration rises. The elder looks to the other the elder looks to the oh my God. The elder looks to the two others. Just the way it's written messes up my brain. At his side, sips his tea and answers with a thoughtful look. In our many years of protecting Chinatown, we have never needed to ask for the assistance of others. All the better as we have never found anyone outside this place willing to offer us that aid. Renouncing reliance on the fickle promises of outside forces has made us stronger. I suspect that should you survive the days ahead, they may strengthen you and your companions in the same way. Gee, thanks. What the fuck kind of bullshit is that? Lives are in danger and these guys are treating it as some kind of deranged life lesson. There's got to be some way to make these guys realize what's at stake, make them see sense. So long as they're still willing to listen to you, then there should be a way to talk them around. Helping us is the best strategic option. I'll make them see that with my one dot in socials. Boom. Hello. They're building a wall. Sure. The Taishanhuai probably aren't going to react well to an emotional plea. They probably turned down enough of them over the years to be able to brush those aside. No, if you want to get through to them, you need to lay out an argument that they'll take seriously. Logic, or better yet, strategy. You know they won't stop at Downtown Eastside, right? You ask. The elder's eyes narrow. You do not know this. I do. A sexy vampire lady told me while she fed me from a buffet. It's obvious, isn't it? You insist. You might demand a respect for borders, but they don't. To them, we're all just different breeds of cattle. The only reason they've come after us first is because the Downtown Eastside looks like the softest target. Once they've taken over and sucked us dry, they'll need new hunting grounds, new targets. They can't hit the financial district. Too many cops, too many cameras, and too many eyes, even at night. Strathcona, okay, is too far. Commercial's too lit up, even at night. After they take us down, their next stop would be obvious, wouldn't it? If that's the case, then when they make their move, we will confront them and we will fight them. They've already made their move, haven't they? You press? I don't know what you found in that back room, but it wasn't nothing. You'd have told me otherwise. You look for their reactions and find exactly the ones you're looking for. Yeah, they did find something in there. So what was it? A weapons locker, a safe house, an infiltration tunnel? You are not in a place to be asking such questions, Elder Kong snaps. But you already have the answer you need. That means our enemies, our mutual enemies, have already encroached into Chinatown. They're already planning to hit you next. Why let them keep going until they get strong enough to put you and your people in danger? Why not hit them now when they're still not ready for you? That's just good tactics, isn't it? I'll make one last attempt to convince them because I don't have any other option. You force yourself to look calm, to keep your voice as even as possible. A different crowd might respond well to emotion, but not this one, that's for sure. You take a deep breath. We would really like your help, you begin. As much as we would prefer to do this on our own, as you do, we don't have anywhere near the experience or the training that you do. And if we refuse, Elder Lu asks, you force down the surge of desperation in your gut. No, we're hunters. Desperation is good and bad. You pretend not, it's part and parcel to the gig. You pretend not to feel the dryness in the back of your throat. A threat to our neighborhood is a threat to our neighborhood, whether it is stronger than us or weaker. If we must fight it alone, then we will fight it alone and die alone if need be. We will protect our people no matter the odds. I'm sure you understand. By the thoughtful nods they give you, it's clear that they do. The elders lean in and murmur to each other for a moment. One nods, another shakes his head, one simply sips his tea thoughtfully before delivering some remark too quiet for you to hear. Finally, they sit back in their seats and turn back to you. We have come to a decision, Elder Shang declares. The Taishan Huai has not in 80 years operated outside of Chinatown. Today, we intend to make an exception. We're the best. We're the best. Like, whoever doubted us? My method works. So some people die along the way. It's still tried and true. You breathe a sigh of relief, one which catches in your throat when the elder raises a hand. But we will not be the ones who would come to your assistance. Who would risk their lives to fight for strangers? We leave that decision to the elder and the younger brothers. If they choose to aid you, then they will be free to do so when you have need of them. Great, an empty promise. Maybe this means we'll get some help after all. Okay, so hang on. Alright, maybe it's not a perfect strategy. It's not a perfect strategy, but you know what? It gets results. Sometimes they're really bad results. You try not to assume the worst. The elders might be suspicious and conservative, but at least some of the younger members of the Taishan Huai might jump at a chance to see some action. Maybe Elder Brother Kong would be willing to help. He seemed less standoffish than everyone else. Maybe he'd be willing to bring some of his friends with him. You can hope, at least. You head back to Downtown Eastside feeling pretty goddamn proud of yourself. It should have been impossible convincing the Taishan Huai to even promise the prospect of help. Against elders sitting behind generations of tradition and isolation, you only had your wits, your will, and your stubborn refusal not to give up. And at the end of the day, that room full of old men blinked before you did. If only Zheng were here to see this. Look, babe, we met him twice. You could not possibly have formed this attachment to this dude who you met twice. Calm down. You bet you'd have been overjoyed to see you win over the guy, whatever. But you can't dwell on that now. The bastards who killed old Zheng are still after you. At least now you'll stand a better chance to survive the showdown than you did. Contacts updated the Taishan Huai. What are they updated to? Ooh, they have pledged to help me. Nice. Look, he gave us. I know, but come on, Jesus. It's acts like we were obsessed with this guy. Like he was like an Assat's grandpa to us. When dawn comes the next day, you almost don't expect it. You'd gone to sleep, almost sure you'd be shaken awake in the middle of the night with news that shit was going to go down, that you needed to be up and ready 5 minutes ago. Instead, you're greeted by the sun, or at least what you assume has to be the sun under all those layers of cloud, and a new day. One you don't plan on wasting. Every day the attack doesn't come is a day to get ready, a day to muster your resources, a day to tip the uneven balance of power ever so slightly in your favor. You've just got to figure out how. I'll wait until nightfall and visit the address on Lydia's card. That sounds smart. You'd have thought that the office of some kind of big shot corporate lawyer would have been easier to find. After all, the kind of law offices rich people would use should be obvious, right? And it's not like you don't have directions on the card Lydia gave you or anything. Turns out it's not quite so simple. Apparently, law offices aren't like fashion boutiques or high-class restaurants. Instead of advertising, they hide themselves deep inside those huge corporate towers that dominate the Vancouver skyline, ensconced behind lobbies, elevators, foyers, and even more fucking lobbies. Maybe that makes sense. Not a lot of people want to throw bricks through a millionaire's shoe store or favorite brunch place, but you can think of a hell of a lot of people who'd happily chuck a pipe bomb through the door of a millionaire's lawyer. Which is all to say that it takes you until past sunset to finally get yourself in front of an unassuming looking heavy wooden door somewhere on the 40th floor of a corporate tower with DeVille, Masters, and Parker Cunningham, barristers and solicitors. The reception room on the other side of the door is the picture of old-world elegance, rich oak paneling subtly accented with gold leaf, a thick carpet soft enough for you to feel your feet sinking into it, ornate brass light fixtures which look like and might have actually started out as gas lamps, and a desk, an immense mahogany desk, sports what looks like a phone and an intercom panel, probably the only thing in this room newer than the Second World War. Behind it in a high-backed wooden swivel chair sits a young-looking, pale-skinned woman with mousy brown hair and features which would have been pretty if not for the faint bags under her eyes, barely covered by carefully laid but futile applications of makeup. For a moment, a look of what could only be terror flashes across her watery blue eyes as you walk through the door, but it doesn't last. The second she clocks your outfit, that fear evaporates like mist under a heat lamp and is replaced by the look of someone who's just found something slimy and unpleasant stuck to the bottom of her shoe. "Excuse me," she begins in that tone of voice which makes it pretty obvious that her politeness is for legal purposes only. "You don't look like you belong here. Are you lost?" Why would I do that? I walk in there, they're like, "Excuse me, you're some random in bummy clothes looking around at night. This is a fairly, like..." What do I have, like a hair trigger? This is a fairly normal thing to ask someone, I think. Like, maybe the "you don't look like you belong here" part is a little harsh, but I could be like, if that's how I'm going to be treated, then fuck it, I'm out. If this is DeVille, Masters, and Parker Cunningham, then no, I'm not. What? Oh, then no, I'm not. God, I have real temper on me. She looks down at you with an expression of disdain so perfect she must have spent hours practicing it in the mirror. If you think you can just waltz in here because you can read the words on the front door, then... Hey. I think she's great. Her phone rings. You turn around again to see the receptionist bring the handset to her pale face with trembling fingers. "Yes, mistress? Oh, it's this kind of place." Her phone rings. No, whatever she hears from the other side doesn't so much break the remnants of her calm as it does annihilate it. By the time she's putting the phone back down 7 seconds later, there's no blood in her face at all, and her hands aren't so much trembling as they are vibrating with terror. Miss Parker Cunningham will see you now." "Yes, mistress." You head for the door behind the desk, pleasantly surprised. After the unfriendly first impression you got, you were worried that you'd be held up with some kind of petty bullshit or something. Given that this is supposed to be some kind of big shot law office, you practically... "Hey," the woman behind the desk adds as you pass her. "Sorry about the cold reception. Could you do me a favor and not mention it to my boss?" Please stop. Get some help. She tries to play it casually. She fails, her attempts at nonchalance pulled threadbare over an obvious and infinite terror. She knows she's fucked up somehow, and she knows that if you tell Lydia about it, she might be in for something bad. Bad enough to make her lip tremble and her fingers clutch. This is like with the waiter at the buffet, where I could have like let Lydia just break his mind and ruin the rest of his natural life. We'll see. You said I didn't look like I knew how to read, and I take that personally offensive, and I don't find that hilarious at all. Honestly, it says a lot about the vamp if they have their ghoul calling them master mistress. I mean, honestly, if I was a venture vampire, I think I would insist upon it, which is so great that I'm not a venture vampire, because I would be more insufferable than I am right now. If Lydia doesn't ask, then you don't see any reason to tell her. If she does, well, you're not going to lie, are you? As far as you're concerned, how Lydia deals with her staff is hardly your problem. Except her receptionist doesn't think of it that way. The 2 words of your reply might have sounded non-committal and casual to you, but to her, they hit like the crack of doom. Please, please don't tell her, she pleads. For a second, you think she's going to fall out of her chair and beg. For fuck's sake, don't tell her. The fuck is up with this place? Please don't let her know, she continues as if it were a mantra, her broken half-whisper filled with raw desperation. Please don't make her think I failed her. Jesus! Nothing- okay, everybody calm down! Nothing happened. She's still going through the- God, fuck, Jesus. She's like crawling on her knees going, please, please don't tell her. Oh, dignity. We don't know her. Lydia's office is as tastefully decorated as you might have expected. There's that same dark oak paneling, that same rich carpet, those same soft gas lamp light fixtures. What you weren't expecting was how small it is. You'd have thought that a senior partner in a big corporate law firm would have had a corner office the size of a hockey rink, but no, this one is small, almost intimate, made even smaller by the rows of books that line the walls on either side. For a second, you consider taking a look at the titles on the spines. What does a vampire read in her off time anyway? But only for a second, because as you quickly realize, one of the reasons this office is so small is because it funnels your eyes down the length of it towards the end, to an imposing mahogany desk and to the woman behind it. She looks well like a lawyer, all black pinstripe suit and carefully groomed nails and a cold look behind stylish, understated glasses. But the way she sits behind that desk, straight-backed and commanding without even a computer or a stack of paperwork between you and her, it almost makes her look like a queen. Half of you wants to avert your eyes, the other half can't look away. A slow smile crosses Lydia's features as she sees you enter. Ah, Hannah, good. I've been expecting you. She waves languidly at a chair set on your side of her desk as she meets you with those icy, mesmerizing blue eyes. Sit down. We have a great deal to discuss. It's a normal chair, expensive looking and comfortable, but just a regular office chair. Yet when you lay eyes on it, you feel almost compelled to step forward and sit down on it. Not just because you're tired from walking all day, not just because that leathery upholstery looks soft, but because of some urgency in the back of your mind. God, is she messing with your head? Yes. Yes, she is. My sweet, simple girl, she certainly is. Fuck, if she could do that, what else can she do? I don't know. She tried to slip you blood in a wine glass. Come on. Wake up. I've broken her brain. I try and look away to break eye contact. No, it's so comfy. No mental pause at all. Just the fact that she fed us. Yeah. I mean, the thing is, we didn't drink the blood. So that isn't, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's like a bug or not, or if she is using dominate or presence at the very least. Probably more likely presence. It doesn't require really any effort. But yeah, supposedly we didn't get any of the blood in our system, but that, who knows? We're not very good at like not drinking and not eating. There's no reason for you to do this except maybe for spite or out of some kind of ridiculous defiance. At least that's what one part of your brain tells you. But another, you're not sure what voice is telling you to do anything except what you're told. Maybe curiosity over what you're going to be able to get away with. Maybe it's some inner paranoia telling you that you've already walked into a trap. All you know is that some part of your mind is telling you, screaming at you, not to let her order you around. It's just the brat in me, really. So you try to turn away to focus your eyes on the bookshelves, the light fixtures, the frame degrees covering the back wall, literally anything except for Lydia, or the chair she seems so eager for you to sit in. Idly, you pick up details, the subtle gold accenting on the shelves, the ornate scroll work on the light fixtures, the fact that Lydia's law degree only comes from 1989, which either means she's a lot younger than you'd thought, or that she became a lawyer after she became a vampire. But despite your best efforts, your attention is drawn back towards those blue eyes like iron filings towards a magnet. You catch yourself obeying almost unconsciously, your hand halfway out to the chair's armrest before you stop it. Pointedly, you pull it back and stay standing. For a moment, Lydia looks at you, puzzled, as if you weren't supposed to be able to do that. A thin veil of annoyance falls over her pale features. I said, sit down. This time, the words hit you like a hockey stick to the back of the knees. Your legs seem to collapse out from under you as your arm grabs the arm of the chair and pulls it towards you. Your head spins. No matter how hard you try, you can't make yourself stay standing. It takes everything in your mind and body to keep yourself from falling to the carpet in a heap as the chair rolls towards you. When you finally collapse into the soft, yielding upholstery, it comes almost as a relief. From the other side of the desk, Lydia's lips twist in a smirk of quiet but deep satisfaction. Thank you. What the fuck did she just do to you? Oh, I couldn't imagine. Lydia leans forward, her eyes still firmly meeting yours. First of all, welcome to my office. Yeah, I feel very welcome. You may be seeing it as a great deal and seeing it a great deal in the nights to come. I am nothing if not fond of good conversation. Of course, her eyes narrow. That's not why you've taken the trouble of seeking me out this evening, is it? Her fingers come together on the glossy desktop, resting against each other like the flying buttresses of a cathedral. I take it you've come to accept my offer? Have you considered that maybe I did just want to see you again? What am I doing? Yeah, but you know what? You know what, Alizara? I also forgot about the offer. I saw the... Here's the problem with the World of Darkness allowing me to stream these Choice of games. I'm a gremlin, and I saw the option to go see Lydia again, and I took it, and now I see this option, which lets me flirt with her, and I'm gonna do it because it's hilarious. Have you considered that maybe I just want to see you again? Oh, Lydia's eyebrows arches languidly as she leans forward on her elbows. You've got her curious now. I will admit that I am flattered, of course, but surely you have more important priorities. Why would you forsake them to come to me for mere conversation? Oh, I can't! Do I have to spell it out? Oh, I can't. Probably because I didn't drink her blood. Damn. This isn't as good. No, now that I've seen this, this just isn't as good. This makes my fun go soft. I've got a lot of questions, and you're the only one who can answer them. Yeah, if we drank her blood. If we drank her blood. Wonder if it's just because... No, I think you need to drink her blood to do it. I don't know. Maybe also because... Yeah, but the thing is, I started another romance with Will. Nothing. There's been nothing with that. All it said was me talking to myself saying, I think I have a crush on the alcoholic, and then nothing. Questions. Lydia's voice is a fine mix of scorn and annoyance leavened with a light dusting of disappointment. Unconsciously, you feel your body shrink around you as if it wanted to curl up into a ball. Now is not the time for questions, she continues, her voice cold and unyielding. That time will come only when the immediate crisis is handled, and your loyalty is assured. She reaches out, stroking your chin with the tip of her fingernail, scoring the skin just enough to send a shiver that is half pain and half pleasure rippling down your neck. Join me, help me deal with Roderick Long and his little rebellion, and then you will have time for all the questions you could ask, but first you must join me. Are you ready to do that? The word yes almost comes out of your mouth before you manage to stop it, clamping your teeth down on it like the jaws of a trap latching onto the leg of fleeing prey. Carefully, you take a breath, pull your thoughts together, trying to remember what you were actually going to say. I still need time to think about it! Oh no, this is not gonna work. And what exactly is there to think about? Lydia asks, demands as she leans closer towards you. We have a common enemy, one that may prove an inconvenience to me but threatens your very survival. With a visible effort, she buries her annoyance and brings up that pleasant corporate lawyer's smile again. I am not asking you for a price you cannot afford to pay. I am not trying to trick you. I am simply trying to help you reach your full potential and destroy those who have tried repeatedly to end your life, but only if you are willing to agree to it. I don't know why I came here. This was a mistake. You feel a pressure in the back of your head, or rather you notice it for what feels like the first time as it suddenly redoubles in strength. You know, deep down inside, that this is a decision you can't take lightly, that you need to think this through, and that no matter what Lydia says, signing with her will have a price that you might not be able to afford, but that voice of warning seems to grow fainter and fainter, as if being buried by that mental pressure as it grows into something like an all-encompassing roar. It's her. It's got to be her. She's fucking with your head somehow. Behind those cold blue eyes, you can almost see that hellish red glow. You don't know how she's doing it, but you know it has to be her. I have 3 dots in mental. Missing the yes mommy option there, yeah. Yes, and fight back. I have 3 dots in mental. If I can't get out of this, then they're useless. Fight, I guess. Ah. How do you win a shoving match? Oh no, I lost. God! Then what was that for? What are 3 dots of mental for? How do you win a shoving match inside your own head? That's a question you try to answer, and quickly. You know it'll only be a matter of seconds before she bends you to her will. You try to find some kind of hold, some kind of surface to push back against, like a wrestler trying to grapple with an opponent. At first you find nothing, but desperation lends you a single moment of clarity. If she wants you to say one thing, the simplest way to push back would be to think the opposite. No, you think to yourself, you won't agree to her offer, you won't accept it. You brace your mind, you prepare your thoughts, and in your head, you plant your feet at the crown of the hill you plan to die on. It isn't enough. Well, gee, thanks. Whatever satisfaction you might have had at finding a way to resist curdles in your mouth as the pressure in your head redoubles. Vaguely, you see Lydia's expression take on a thin cast of annoyance, maybe even frustration. She knows you're fighting back. But she also knows you can't win. You're losing ground bit by bit, but it's not like she doesn't have all night. You can feel your mental balance teetering. You can feel the ground under your thoughts give way. You're going to lose this fight. You're going to lose it. Well, she asks coolly, almost casually, as if she weren't in the process of crushing your mental resistance like a ripe cherry under a stiletto heel. Will you join me or not? Yes. So annoying. Clearly they're for investigating shoe prints. Yeah, I know. What good is this? What good is this crap right here if it's not to help me do that? A look crosses Lydia's features, a look like that of a commuter behind the wheel after seeing the traffic light in front of them turn green. There is satisfaction there, maybe even joy, but not a single hint of surprise. She knew you were going to say that with the same calm, certain conviction that someone else might expect the sun to set, a conviction so firm that she barely even gives herself a moment to revel in its vindication. Good, then let's move on to why we're both here, shall we? In a few nights' time, I will be allowed to lead the Red Cavaliers into the Downtown Eastside to seek out the heart of this Thin Blood rebellion, the laboratory which they intend to use as the centerpiece of their conspiracy, Lydia explains. Not only will destroying the equipment within fatally compromise their plot, but it will allow me to acquire solid evidence that Roderick Lung is plotting against the court. Faced with such proof, the prince will be obliged to order a blood hunt. Was she telling me a lot of... Again, because she thinks I drank her blood, she's telling me a lot of terminology for kindred. That's not... She shouldn't be doing that. Roderick and his allies will be targeted by the whole of Vancouver's kindred. They will have no choice but to flee into the wilderness or die. You nod along... The nomenclature... I feel like she could tell me this and leave out the nomenclature. I think she... What they say, her law degree was from 1989. I think it's kind of obvious that she's a lot younger. Like, to us, she might seem like this, like, you know, older and more experienced vampire, but I think she's a lot younger. And they also mention her smaller office. I think she's a lot younger in this court than she's letting on. You nod along, but already you've started to notice a few interesting details in Lydia's story. Ones that don't quite add up with what she's told you before. In the past, she's always given the impression that she was already hunting down this Thin Blood conspiracy with the backing of her superior, this prince she's mentioned before. Now she's telling you that she needs to get evidence before she moves against them. And what's this about being allowed to lead those Mulserp goons she calls Red Cavaliers? Weren't they supposed to be her private army? Yeah, exactly. Now she's telling you that she needs permission to take them off lead. Exactly. So there, yeah. So she's... And again, you know... Having to do stuff like this for the court is obviously you're being lower on the power scale than, you know, a primogen, for example. You're beginning to suspect that the vampire in front of you isn't as high up the chain of command as she wants you to think. Not that you're going to say that out loud, not in her own office, no, but that doesn't mean you can't keep prying. What do you need me to do, you ask? Lydia smiles again as she leans forward. I will need you by my side. We will be operating in a region of the city which is unfamiliar to me, but not to you. When the hour comes, you will be my hound, leading me through the warrens of your familiar ground so I may strike the killing blow where it is needed. I'll do this for you. Hell, I'll do anything as long as for you. I would have picked this option if she wasn't such a bitch, or if the game let me resist her. I'll be ready. Sure, fine. I mean, there's nothing I can do really here to like not. I sort of was dumb and walked into this, so I guess in for a penny, in for a pound, baby. I'm in. You son of a bitch, I'm in. Nothing I can do about this. The new Hunter game, it's pretty fun. I'm making a lot of really excellent decisions that won't get me and everyone else killed. I never would do that. Lydia nods approvingly. Good, I always appreciate your enthusiastic cooperation, as long as it's sincere, of course. It's super sincere. Lydia reaches behind her desk. In the silence of the little office, you hear the sound of a latch being turned, a heavy door being opened. Carefully, she pulls out 3 items. I knew it. 3 items set on the desk in front of her. One is a thin stem champagne flute, glitteringly decollete. I knew it. The second is a soft cloth so immaculately white that it almost glows. The other is a knife. With an almost casual grace, she brings the blade up to her thumb and cuts 2 deep slashes across the meat, just below the last knuckle. A trickle of deep crimson oozes out, stark against ivory pale flesh. She holds her bleeding thumb over the glass, letting 1, 2, 3 drops of her lifeblood fall, pooling at the bottom like a dark red ruby suspended in glass. In for a penny, in for a pound. All right, I'll do it. If this one is what it takes, then I might as well go for it. Hesitantly, you take the glass and slowly bring it up under your nose. The smell is, well, it's strange. Copper and salt and some kind of underlying sweetness under it all. This went completely off the rails. You know, and you know what? Hang on. I have to girl math. I have to justify my way out of my decision. I'm gonna blame Will for some reason. Will hasn't kissed me yet, and I feel like it's been a while and nothing's happened, and I need someone to love me. And she gave me a lot of food. Oh yeah, this is a hunter game, not become a vengeful ghoul game. I forgot, yeah. In the back of your head, you can't help but think this isn't something a human should be drinking. But you're in too deep to back out now. Carefully, you bring the glass to your lips and tip its contents into your mouth. The liquid is warm and viscous and salty as it drips onto your tongue. The second it works its way down your throat, you feel a sense of warmth and energy suffuse your body, power radiating out in waves from those few drops of blood as they seem to almost fill your body with a rejuvenating force. All of your weariness evaporates. You feel like you're stronger than you've ever been, like you can do anything, survive anything. I'm invincible! When you put the empty glass down, Lydia is smiling. There will be more for you if you prove yourself deserving of it. More power, more energy, more euphoria. All of it is yours so long as you prove to her that you're worth giving it to, something which has proven so easy so far. How could you refuse an offer? How could you resist that? How could you resist it? Chaos Gremlin Trash Panda being adopted by a vampire lawyer as her new pet. Yeah. Pretty much. We forgot to not drink this time. I mean, before it was a more. Before it was like a half of an inch in there, so it was easier to pretend not to. But she's right there. And what, I'm gonna pretend to drink 3 drops? It's a little harder. I will find a way to inform you the day before we are to move, Lydia tells you before she sends you out of her office. Do what you can to ensure that your former allies do not interfere. I will provide you with a time and a rendezvous point. I expect, also, wouldn't it just, if it's real viscous, wouldn't it just like stick to the edge of the glass? Do what you can to ensure that your former allies do not interfere. I will provide you with a time and a rendezvous point. I expect to meet you there. Then we will see this matter finished once and for all, and we may make rather more concrete plans about your future. Sorry. Those last words echo in your head as you walk out. Your future. What's that supposed to mean? For all that she's made vague references to realizing your true potential, she's mentioned very few specifics. It's something that you can't keep out of your head, even as the office door closes behind you. So obviously she's a Ventru of a high generation, and she's made these thin bloods, or she's made at least one of them. This is what it's all come down to. For some reason, no matter where your thoughts go, they wander back to her about proving her right about your potential, about showing you're as capable and skilled as she thinks you are. When you pass the reception's desk up front, you find it empty, entirely cleared out. For some reason, you feel a surge of satisfaction. Weird. You barely even talked to her. Sure, she was rude to you, but that doesn't mean you had any reason to go off on her not being there. To get off on her not being there. Yet as you look at that desk, at that empty chair, you get the distinct impression that whatever removed her will make sure she'll never come back. Jeez. And that can't help but make you feel pleased with yourself, as if you'd seen proof of the removal of an obstacle. Or a rival. Whereas I'm the new ghoul in town, baby! It's my turn to sit behind a desk and tell people they don't know how, they look like they don't know how to read. It's my time now. Yeah, she need to mix that with champagne or something. Absolutely, yeah. Pocket booze flask to rinse the remaining droplets out. Maybe. The next morning you wake up to news that some of Three Eyes. Who's Three Eyes? Oh no. 3 ISIS people beat up one of Dead Red's girls back in the back alley last night. Is these from like Jangles' gang? I don't remember. Looks like some people aren't waiting for Jangles to go out before making their move. Apparently they could hear the screaming all the way from Gastown. But there's nothing you can do about that now. You're a ghoul and you don't care. You've got other things on your mind. If Lydia's telling the truth, if she and her backers can handle your common enemy by herself, there's very little you need to do. You could just sit back and let her cook. Let her cook. But what if she isn't? Would she really lie to you like that? A vampire lie? She's had every opportunity to screw you over, but she hasn't. Sure she hasn't. No, maybe it would be better to trust her and wait for her to make her move. But what do you want to do until then? I guess talk to some of the people here, I guess. You know you can't talk to your neighbors into picking up a pipe wrench and backing you up when it comes down to a fight. What are you going to tell them? A gang of vampires is trying to kill me. They have super strength and super speed. Please help me fight them with plumbing parts in your bare hands. Yeah, that's not going to fucking work. That doesn't mean you can't get them to help. Even if they can't contribute money or weapons, they can still keep an eye or an ear out for any strange happenings in the middle of the night. It's not exactly a foolproof network of informants, but if one of your neighbors hears something and tells you before it goes down, that'll give you and the others at least some time to prepare yourselves. And in a situation like this, even 5 minutes of warning might mean the difference between life and death. Which means if you can find a way to soften them up, your neighbors would be a lot easier to I'd have to give them my food, won't I? Maybe if you dipped into your food reserves, laid out a bit of a spread, you'd be able to get them more receptive to what you have to say. No. Hell, it works for church groups, doesn't it? Fine. That's our food! I know! The hell? This game's been coming for my food since the beginning. Every time they always make a snarky remark whenever I say I want to get more food. They're always like, really? You have some food. You know, you're not going to starve. I know it. You can't afford to be stingy here, that much is for sure. Even if a few travel-sized packs of stale potato chips will do the trick, you can't run the risk that it doesn't. So you dig into your reserves and pull out everything you can spare, a small mountain of snacks, dips, drinks, and even a few fresh fruits you managed to pick up from somewhere. It'll hurt to use all this up in one go. You kind of gotten used to the idea of having food for the long haul after your first few precarious days in the Downtown Eastside. But you remind yourself that if you don't get your neighbors to help, you might not survive to see the long haul at all. You can only hope, well, hopefully Lydia will feed me. The ultimate in heroic sacrifices. I know. I'm a hero. So I have to drink a little vampire blood. I'm still a hero. So you spend the morning getting in touch with your neighbors, with the local street vendors, with anyone who you've talked to at all in the past few weeks you spent living here in the Downtown Eastside. You tell them to meet up that afternoon at the theater, that you have something important to tell them. A lot of them tell you that they can't make it. Some of them make excuses. They have shit to do. They have somewhere else to be. They don't want to get involved with anything that involves meeting at a known gang hideout. Sorry, I have hiccups. Others are more blunt, telling you to fuck off in no uncertain terms or making it clear that they don't like you anywhere near enough to help you with whatever you need. But enough of them do agree, and not long past noon, they filter into the auditorium. They file in grumbling and sullen, but the second they see the food you've spread out on the table, yeah, exactly, that stops. Everyone come eat the food. Even in the fat week after Welfare Wednesday, free food is still free food, and this much free food, anyone who's willing to give out that much free food is usually someone worth listening to or someone worth harboring. Fuck my food! But that doesn't mean they'll help. Free food or no, the people in front of you still have no idea what you've gotten yourself wrapped up in. If you don't tell them anything, there's no way they'll help you. Tell them too much and they might think you're some kind of paranoid nutcase. Someone to get the fuck away from, not someone to help. So what do you say? I tell them... as little as I can get away with. Because I don't want them to be too scared. I don't know. I'm not sure about that one. Someone's coming after me, you tell your assembled neighbors. I don't know who they are. All I know is they'll come at night. They want me dead, and that if I want to stop them, I'll need your help. That must have been the most infuriatingly vague sentence you've ever put together in your entire life, but it's all you can let yourself say. Any more and you'll scare people off, or worse, make them think that you're lying to them to set them up. No, you'll have to hope that the people in front of you take you at your word. The crowd in front of you looks at each other for a while. The low sound of muttering voices fills the room, echoing off the dark corners. At last, one of them steps forward. Jamie, shitmouth Jamie to the rest of your building. His eyes narrow. You're not fucking trying to pull us into some fucking gang war shit, are you? We know you've got fucking friends working for Jangles. You shake your head. No, you reply. You know I'm not part of any gang, and I don't plan on joining any of them either. Alright, the foul-mouthed middle-aged man replies. You've been on the fucking level with us before and shit. I think we can help you out. I'm a genius. I couldn't get away from the vampire thing, but I was the stupid one who decided to go, so... When it becomes clear that you have no intention of making them fight your enemies or do anything to piss off Jangles, Dead Red, Three Eyes, or anyone else they know and fear, your neighbors become a lot more open to the idea of helping out. In the end, it's almost easy to convince them to keep an eye out for anything that might be a sign of your bloodsuckers. Of course, why wouldn't they agree? It's not like they're taking any risks. They're just keeping an eye out at night and tipping you off if they see anything that might be your enemies. After that, it'll be you and the other hunters who'll be picking up the trail and doing the really risky shit. Still, that advance warning might be important. It might even mean the difference between surviving the night or not. Even a few minutes of advance warning could give you the time to wake up, gear up, and get into position for an ambush. Given the fact that you'll still be outmatched and probably outgunned, you're going to need all the advantages you can get. Hopefully when that night comes, you'll have enough of them saved up. Another day, another dollar, another day and another night, another few hours of sleep, but not good ones. The news when you get up ain't good either. Dead Red has gone after the guys who'd beaten up one of her girls last night with a few people of her own. The fight which resulted knocked 3 people out and might kill a 4th. This was the kind of shit Jangles would have put a stop to long before it got this bad, but he's clearly not in any shape for that, not anymore. If whatever happened to Jangles, I don't remember. Last thing I remember hearing about Jangles is he's the one who told us about the I can never remember unless I look at it, I can't remember it. The Tai Shan Huai. Yeah. He's the one who told us about the Tai Shan Huai and then said Dead Red with us to Chinatown. And after that, I don't remember anything about Jangles. So if something has happened to him, I didn't hear about it, but the game certainly thinks I heard about it. Now the Downtown Eastside is on its own, trapped with 2 factions squaring off and preparing to fight for scraps. People are scared, people are worried, some people are talking about leaving, even though you know that none of them have the money or the connections to afford to live anywhere else. And that's not even half of your problems. While everyone else might be worried about the very mundane gang war brewing on the streets, you've got even scarier enemies to fear. The tension is really starting to fray your nerves. Every time you have a spare moment, you find yourself thinking about what's coming next, which is probably not healthy. That means all you can do to keep your mind off of it is to distract it with something else. There's nothing I can do now but wait. Whoa, achievement. Choices and consequences. Deal with the events of Act 4. Okay. It comes the next morning, another business card from DeVille Masters and Parker Cunningham slipped into your pockets. Only this time, the name, phone number, and office address aren't the only things written on it. This time, there's an additional message scrawled in red ballpoint with the neat, spidery handwriting of someone who definitely signs documents for a living. Tonight, 8 p.m., Alexander and Columbia, be prepared. So that's it then. Lydia's about to make her move, and when she does, she'll be taking you with her. Tonight, your life is either about to change or about to end. End of Act 4. Okay, I feel like I've made some really weird contradictory decisions here about stuff. So I don't know where this is going. We'll find out next week. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait a whole week. I can't stream the next 2 days. I would though. I would keep going if I could, but I have to manage the time here. So I'll be back next Thursday with this. And if things go really bad, next Thursday will be the last episode. I have no idea how long this game is. I feel like there's a weird, like, I don't know, there's something weird about this one. One, I feel like some of the flags are still wrong. Or like hitting wrong. When did I lose a point of willpower? That's what I mean. Like, I don't normally play with the storyteller mode on, so I don't normally see those things. But because I'm so confused of how this is set up, I did try and see if I could turn on storyteller mode anywhere. But maybe, yeah, there's nowhere for me to do that. There's no storyteller mode that I'm aware of. So I'm not sure, because I would like to, because at this point, because I'm confused of how these roles are working, and because we're not dealing with, again, sorry, I don't mean to drag on about this, because we're not dealing with attributes, right? We're not dealing with like strength and dexterity. We're dealing with physical, mental, social, just sort of the 3 categories of attributes, and no skills. I am confused of how this rolling system works in this game, and if it matters at all or not. I would love to know. Maybe I'll look it up after I'm done with the stream. It's fun as always. Yesterday was my wife's birthday, so we were celebrating that. And but I don't have to say next Thursday. I don't have anything going on up until Christmas. Obviously on Thursday, when I won't be streaming on Christmas. But other than that, you got me Thursdays and Fridays for the next few weeks. So thank you everyone for joining, and I will see you next Thursday. Bye.